So I think you can tell where we are at. We are at one of the original McDonald's still left in Southern California as the sun's going down. So Sarah and I have been traveling all day in Southern California. We arrived in Downey, the sun's going down, but we briefly want to show you what is the oldest operating McDonald's in the world. It's right here at 10,207 Lakewood in Downey. This building was built in the Googie style, which was a style of architecture that kind of made its way here in Southern California based on the atomic age, the automobile, and very trendy design. Those are 30-foot arches on both sides of the building. Now, most of the buildings that were around at that time throughout the country have been torn down. This one is still standing because it does not belong to the franchisee. The McDonald's brothers were pretty excited about their speedy service that they offered in San Bernardino, and they wanted a flagship store. They decided to create this one. It was designed by an architect out of Fontana. It is original. This sign here indicates this is the oldest McDonald's restaurant in the world. When it originally opened in 1953, a hamburger cost 15 cents and an order of fries was only 12 cents. The towering neon chef Speedy was McDonald's first mascot, and he symbolized fast, efficient service. Roger Williams and Bud Landon opened the restaurant on August 18th, 1953. This location in Downey was the third restaurant franchised by Richard and Maurice McDonald, who founded the chain in 1948. Ray Kroc, the eventual founder of McDonald's Corporation, was a traveling salesman who sold a product called a multi-mixer. These multi-mixers were used to make several milkshakes at one time. It was on one of the sales calls that he was introduced to McDonald's. When I was a kid growing up in Modesto, California, we lived not very far from McDonald's, and it was always my dream to have my parents take me there for some burgers. Ours didn't look like this one, but it kind of reminds me of all the old-fashioned burger joints that you'll find across the country today. This talks about the different prices of things back in 1955. When gasoline was 20 cents a gallon, which I remember it was 24 cents a gallon. Our dollar hamburger is a better value today than it was in 1955, according to this, and it was only 15 cents. Check out these old cash registers right here. I understand that Ray Kroc himself actually visited this restaurant in 1954, and it helped him to prepare for the construction of the first McDonald's in Des Plaines, Illinois. The location he opened in 1955 would be the first restaurant opened outside of California. Kroc eventually bought out the McDonald's brothers for $2.7 million, some saying that was the best business transaction ever. This particular restaurant, though, was never part of the McDonald's Corporation until 1990. Now, up there is Speedy. He was the first mascot for McDonald's before Ronald McDonald. His face was kind of a burger bun. Kind of reminds me of the Foster Freeze mascot, which is a smiley ice cream cone that we have out here in California. The sign says they've served up over 500 million hamburgers, but I believe that's seriously out of date. I think it's more like 300 billion burgers have been served since its founding. Although Ray Kroc made McDonald's what it is today and revolutionized the fast food industry, he kept the name of the McDonald brothers. But can you imagine growing up as a kid to say, "Mommy, Daddy, take me for some Kroc burgers"? In preparing for this video, I found out that Ray Kroc was actually an ambulance driver when he was a young man in France during World War I, and actually found himself at one point working alongside of another young ambulance driver named Walt Disney. You may have heard of him. A lot of people make fun of McDonald's today because it's cheap and it's considered junk food, but a number of presidents have eaten here across the land, including Ronald Reagan. He was photographed eating McDonald's. And of course, Bill Clinton was legendary when he was president. He was jogging back and forth from the White House to McDonald's. Looks like they just lit up the neon here. Right next door is this little museum, and inside is a replica of the first McDonald's eatery here in Southern California. And inside is a bunch of memorabilia highlighting the changes of McDonald's over the years from the beginning, and includes a tribute to Ray Kroc.
I had the blue elephant, and I had that pelican.
Have you been here before?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
This multi-mixer was capable of mixing 5 milkshakes all at one time. This is what an original counter looked like. And there's the clown, Ronald McDonald. Now, as a point of trivia, the very first Ronald McDonald was created in 1963 and was played by the NBC weatherman Willard Scott in the first TV commercial.
I like to do everything boys and girls like to do, especially when it comes to eating those delicious McDonald's hamburgers. A magic tray here keeps me well supplied. McDonald's hamburgers, French fries, and milkshakes. Watch for me on TV. We'll have lots of fun.
For a whole carry-out tray for a hat, and he was dressed as a clown character in McDonald's.
Overtime.
Right, kids. Hey, you been watching TV, bud? Especially when you got delicious McDonald's hamburgers.
And behind you, look, they have
The clown,
tray.
soon renamed Ronald, was an instant hit.
It was Ray's day. And at the beginning of the game, Ray drove around the entire stadium in an open convertible car, waving to everybody and loving every minute of it. It was really fantastic.
It was one of Ray's last shining moments. A year later, he suffered a series of debilitating strokes that would eventually confine him to the hospital. On January 14th, 1984, Ray Kroc died of heart failure. He was in the area.
I remember these.
After McDonald's makes that decision, they go full force on this. They pull in the big advertising guns, have an immediate blitz, reach 4.6 million kids within a month.
There's Ray Kroc and the multi-mixer.
Big time explosion.
Here's this McDonald's back then.
When you see my face, think of your kind of place. McDonald's!
Mac Tonight was introduced into the Los Angeles TV market by the McDonald's operators down here in 1986. In 1994, during a much publicized tug-of-war between McDonald's executives and local preservationists, the iconic eatery was spared the bulldozer when the city refused to issue a demolition permit. Thankfully, the restaurant is still with us today. We appreciate you joining us on this episode of History Hunters and invite you to leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, and follow our channel. Thank you so much.